Hi, and welcome to our conversation about the Information Security Accelerator. My name is Paul Sems, and I have with me Mike Owens. Mike, nice to see you today.
You as well.
Mike, we've been working on the Information Security Accelerator, and can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
So the Security Accelerator is basically combining our trusted SIC expertise with the information security controls from the Center for Information Security. Specifically, their baseline cyber hygiene controls, kind of the first core control set, to really establish what's a baseline security program, what are the key things an organization needs to focus on to get the most value out of your basic security needs. And then we've packaged that with our expertise to say, here's not just what to do, here's how to do it, here's a custom roadmap for moving forward and making real progress over a 12 to 18 month time frame.
Tell me a little bit more about how this actually helps.
It's really designed for folks that don't have a whole lot of security expertise in place already and are looking to get better. There's a lot of information out there about what to do, all these different activities, all these different things. If you look at some of the control sets, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds
Very
of controls,
complex,
but not everybody needs to start there. And so the idea is for organizations that are just really trying to get a start or trying to make kind of that first big leap forward in their security. They want to pay a lot more attention to it. Maybe they're getting pressure from customers, from regulators, and they want to know, what do we need to do to get the most benefit out of our program and make the most strides forward as quickly as possible. So we do this in 3 phases. First off, assessing the current security capabilities of the organization that we're working with the CIS controls and their first implementation level, which is just really a subset of those controls, the most important, the most foundational pieces.
What you mentioned here is practical, real, hands-on advice to go from not just theory, but we actually can give them some practical
And
advice.
so second stage is to say, okay, we've got this snapshot of where you are right now. And you may or may not like where that is. You probably don't because you're asking us to help you. But having that snapshot means we know where to start going. Sure. And so that's where we move into putting together a practical roadmap for what to do over the next 12 to 18 months to really hit a lot of these areas that we bring up in the initial assessment. And that roadmap isn't just a statement of you should go implement a vulnerability management program. What does that mean? Well, that's what we're there to help answer. Bring in some practical tools, bring in instructions, suggest specific tools or applications that might be a solution based on what's already in that environment.
From the slide, it even says that we're going to do some hands-on security work.
So that's part 3, is once we've kind of mapped out this roadmap and identified here are the highest priority areas, here are the biggest things to work on, or the ones that have the most impact. Then our expert consultants will actually dive into an environment with the customer and either doing the work themselves or working hand in hand with sysadmins, make some progress on 1, 2, maybe 3 of those top areas, so that by the end of the engagement, the customer doesn't just have a sense of where they need to go or even a plan for where they need to go, but they've actually started to make a few steps.
Mike, you mentioned this implementation group number 1. Some people may not be familiar with that. What does that actually mean?
So the CIS controls, which is a collaborative industry control set, it has 18 major control areas. These are the core 18 components of a security program. It's divided up into some different levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, that build on each other. And level 1 is really designed to be, this is the baseline for cyber hygiene. This is what every organization should be able to cover. And so that's what we focus on in this assessment, to say, let's help organizations get to that level 1 status.
So we always hear that, the 80-20 rule. So does that actually bear out in here?
What's great about level 1 is that you get a small number of controls, but those controls cover almost 80% of the major threats that organizations are facing. So some research was done on these controls to map them against the most common attacks that have been reported from a bunch of different sources. They listed that out using the MITRE ATT&CK framework and then matched those to these controls from the CIS implementation group 1. And these IG1 controls address 77 to 79% of the attack techniques that are being used in these most common methods. So it really is really getting you most of the way there.
Yeah, that's excellent.
We use a platform from CIS that lets us score how they're doing in these different controls. So all these items that we think are the most important things to focus on, how well are they doing? We expect as we're doing this, a lot of the customers for this kind of thing, they're not going to have a lot of these pieces in place. And that's okay.
What are they left with? What kind of tool set or report, or tell me a little bit about the deliverable?
Sure. So what we deliver is getting them set up in this online tool. It's provided by CIS. It tracks their progress over time. So we'll run through the initial assessment and record in the tool their scores, how well they're doing in these different areas. And then the tool lets them see not just the drill down picture, but also a holistic picture of across these areas, how well are you doing and how well are you doing compared to some of your peers. And then from there, it lets you drill into the individual controls and look at them and say, do we have policies around this? Have we done some kind of implementation? How far are we with these things? And then you can take snapshots of here's where we were at this point in time, and then here's where we were at this point in time. Show that progress.
Yeah, to like the executive leadership, right?
Exactly.
So you can see what's going on.
And the tool then becomes not just something from this engagement, but something that the organization can continue to use going forward, continue to track their progress, and continue to measure themselves with.
Tell me a little bit about the road mapping and what we do during that process.
The roadmap is customizing where somebody is to where they want to get and laying out a plan for how to get there. So helping them see, all right, of all these controls where there may have been some deficiencies, here's what to prioritize first, here's what to focus on, here's where you're going to get either the most bang for the buck or this needs to happen before that. And again, back to our experience, we know how to sequence those things, how to stack those things, how to prioritize that. Bringing in practical, actionable solutions for those challenges. Because the other thing that we don't want to happen is reading this, thinking you have to buy a tool, buying the tool, and then nothing else happens with it. And then again, all of this can get tracked in the CSAT platform so that an organization can see their progress over time.
I think that sounds like one of the things that's missing in this space is that in general, people have so many different security products to buy. They have different next generation firewalls and XDR and EDR and AI and all these other terms floating around. But really what we're talking about is making sure you have all of the bases covered and then find out where those tools and those parts and pieces flow together so that you have a comprehensive roadmap of where you're going. Tell me a little bit about our security engineering, because we include in this, which is I think really unique to our firm and our offering, is that we actually do some hands-on work.
The idea here is we take all the work that's been done before, the previous two steps we talked about, and then say, all right, what is going to make the most difference in the short term? And how can we actually, roll up our sleeves, get in there with our clients to do those things, whether that's help them implement some asset management. Here's some tools and let's start to collect and let's run some queries, getting into their environment and helping do some of the work. We know that it is so much harder to start something than to maintain something. And so whatever we can do to help a few of these get started.
And we're independent, so Trusted Sec is unique too because we're not telling them what solutions to buy. We don't even sell solutions, but we can help them pick solutions. We can say, here's the ones that we've seen give our pen testers a really hard time. Here's the ones that we've practically run into and that other clients are having a great success with. So this is pretty unique what we're offering because we're offering really independent, practical security advice to help accelerate a program. We covered quite a bit of material about this offering and how it can help organizations. Can you summarize that for us?
So 3 basic ideas. We want an organization to know what to do, to have a clear and data-driven sense of this is the key components of a security program and here's where I stand. We want to know how to do it so that they can move forward in pragmatic ways and actually make progress in a security program. Then we want to help them actually get it done by getting into the environment with them, working with their system administrators, working with their management.
Thanks for joining us today. If you're interested in learning more about the Security Accelerator, please go to trustedsec.com and there's a Contact Us form. Fill that in and we'd love to work with you. Thanks.